Can we be honest here? Can we have a genuine conversation about the amount of hate that many fighting games have been receiving? But that's a lot of them. But let's talk about Mortal Kombat in particular. I think the last 4 weeks have been very interesting for Mortal Kombat for a plethora of reasons. Number one, there were certain things and once again game breaking elements that were added to the game upon updates, but eventually that got, ironed out, which I think was very smooth and it was a much better way to handle those crashes and problems than, let's say, perhaps the desync issue that really persisted for a while. Then, on top of that, there was the whole discussion of going back to MK11. So, certain content creators, certain people in the community just felt that there was a need for us to go back to MK11 because somehow that was the better game and that is the better game when compared to MK1. So, once again, a disingenuous conversation popped up. I think that kind of vibe lasted for a good solid 6 days for them. They were out here making that content. They were out here trying to really get on the guys, let's hate MK1 together and let's go back to MK11 kind of hate train. And that didn't really go far. Then there was also the Evo discussion. The Evo discussion just kept popping up about, look at the Evo numbers. MK1 is not a game that is competitively alive. People hate MK1. And we already know that was a disingenuous conversation. If you're interested in learning more about that conversation, I already did a video on that, basically debunking why that's not the case, and it's not really an applicable conversation to the Mortal Kombat series and by extension NRS games. And what I think has been a dramatic change in the last week has been the trailer reveal of Ermac. First of all, I think it kind of took everybody by surprise that Ermac kind of, came to us this quickly, considering we just got Peacemaker. But what happened is that we have to also remember there was a delay. Peacemaker, when he was supposed to be originally released at the end of February, didn't get released at that time. So there would have been a timeline pushback. This is, however, not going to affect the future schedule based on what we're seeing, especially with the release of Ermac tomorrow. So yes, they may have been delayed in certain aspects, but they're ready and willing to push forward with the original schedule that they had. I find this to be very interesting because I think the NRS team has started off on a rough patch. They really had a lot of things to get ironed out in terms of the communication of certain things, the way that they go about implementing certain changes. It has been a bit messy, but with time and with the more and more updates that they do, I think the process is becoming a bit easier or at least less challenging for them. I've seen increased tweet activity from Ed Boon. Sometimes he's not really tweeting about Mortal Kombat, and that's okay because it's his personal Twitter. He can do whatever he wants with it. But just him tweeting out the origin of Ermac's name before his release, to me, is just important. Simple like that. I think there are people who appreciate that because it's a strange name. What's the origin of it? Why is he named Ermac? Bro, was literally a way that they discovered errors in Mortal Kombat. And I think aside from guest character Omni-Man, I don't think we've seen this much energy and excitement for a DLC character like Ermac. This could obviously just be recency bias because I remember when Peacemaker was coming out, there was more discussion about lazy animations and comparing his animations to other games where there's a character featured with a gun. And, that was that whole spark and controversy here. Everybody now is right about now talking about why Ermac looks like he's still in Mortal Kombat X. And they love that. It's not a diss. It's actually that they're bringing across a playstyle and a character that many fans have loved for a plethora of years. And now implementing it into MK1 feels fantastic. Obviously, tomorrow is the day we're gonna see how Ermac kinda, hits the stage. What does he do? What does he do well? And obviously we have the combat cast a bit later to get some updates on Ermac. But I think it's very interesting to note that the community is in a strange place right about now. It's at a point where my suggestion for some people would be to quit Mortal Kombat 1. Genuinely. If a game is not bringing you any form of happiness, if your whole objective every time you talk about a game is to be like, oh, this game is bad, I hate this game, I hate what they're doing, we don't deserve this, we deserve better, bro, drop the game. Number one, there's way too many fighting games out there for you to be complaining about this game not being what it was supposed to be or what your vision of it was supposed to be. There's too many games, fighting games, for you to be complaining like this. And then there's other games you could play. Either you quit or you take a break from Mortal Kombat, really take a step away and realize that this is simply the era of Mortal Kombat 1 right now. Whether you like it or not, this is how it's supposed to be set up. And I think NRS and the team are actively taking efforts to get better. Like, for example, we already know with the release of Ermac, there are coming new moves for Reptile, Scorpion, and Rain. 3 characters just getting some adjustments. So it obviously means that the team is not afraid to go back and add on. I mean, we've seen this with Street Fighter 6. Literally, a mini patch gave Jamie the ability to drink off of a throw, and they admitted that they did not do their best with Ryu. I'm hoping Mortal Kombat has learned some of that, or they can at least take part of that and implement it as a strategy, because it is totally okay for you as a development team to say, we messed up here, but here's how we plan to fix it, and then you go on to make those active in-game changes. But I think Mortal Kombat 1 is definitely getting a second breath. It's definitely getting a change of pace, a better pace that I think a lot of fans will love to see. And overall, the development of the game can be very interesting. And we've got to monitor what happens in the next 2 coming months, you know? Despite what everyone is trying to say, I don't think nobody wants to really go back to Mortal Kombat 11. They definitely want the game that they're playing now to be supported better. And I think NRS is possibly getting that message. I genuinely believe so. I also think that it's pretty stupid to run back to a game where the community is not willing to grow and they're trying to grow in Mortal Kombat 1. You know, a lot of the dumbest thing I hear, that the praise of MK1 is, at least the gameplay is good. Bro, we're playing a game. Like, I think if that system is solid, I think if the cameo system is solid, I think if characters feel different and you're adding a lot more variety in terms of play styles to the game, then by all means, let them cook. Let them actually implement new changes. Let them get aboard and get comfortable with experimenting, because I think right about now, MK11 was such a disaster that they're still playing it safe with MK1. They've got to get more experimental. They got to get more crazy, do more shenanigans that will not break the game, but keep it in a very fresh, interesting realm. Come on, NetherRealm, keep it interesting. You know, that's all that I think the team at NRS have to do and lock in. But guys, let me know what you think below. Do you think right about now, with everything that's being said and done, is Mortal Kombat about to head into a different feeling? Is it about to get stranger from here? Is it about to get worse? We can only know when that time arrives. But I want to know what have been your observations for the past month or so around Mortal Kombat 1. Comment below. Let's get this discussion going, because you already know what we do on this channel. It's all about supporting discussion and engaging with interesting topics. But I will see you guys in a next video. But until then, stay gaming.